welcome to my channel, Abigail's Life, and my name is Abigail. So today I'm actually going to be doing a bit of a story time of my first day in middle school. So if you guys have not yet, go ahead and subscribe down below, turn on your post notifications that you can get updated whenever I do post a new video. And at the end, if this video seems to be pretty good, just give it a thumbs up. Anyways, but a bit of a disclaimer, I actually started my first day of 7th grade, which is for me middle school, my first middle school year, second semester. So the reason why that was because I actually was in Mexico for the first semester, and I didn't start even school there. So instead of starting school when everyone else doesn't know what they're doing, I actually started school in the middle where everyone figured it out, and I'm the only one that doesn't know where the cafeteria is or doesn't know what's going on, literally. I didn't know what was going on in 7th grade most of the time. So what ended up happening was that I would go to my classes, and it was already like second period by this time. I don't know how that happened. At least that's how I remember it. Like, class had already started, so I'm guessing it was like first period or almost the end of first period. Just because when I went into class, everyone was seated, and again, people already have their assigned seats, and you just come into a class and you sit down. You don't know what you're doing. So instead of asking the teacher like, hey, what do I do kind of thing, like I kind of just like stood there trying to sit down, and he's like, oh, you can go sit over there. So what ended up happening with that was I actually have a twin. So in my different classes, people would be like, hey, I had you for my last class, and they would start to talk to me, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, you know, or sometimes I'd be like, oh, I have a sister, or like, I have a twin, which they didn't believe me, but for some reason that first day of school we looked so bad. I can show you my ID, I'll probably put it right there. It was horrible. Like, I look like a bum, like I look bad. So then lunch comes around, right, and I had no idea what I was gonna do, just because I knew that my sister and I had different lunches. She had the second lunch and I had the first lunch, and for those that actually know what I'm talking about, you know, like they split it in half, and then the second half of kids go to lunch. Well, I ended up going first, and I really didn't know what I was gonna do, just because I'm kind of dependent on my sister. Just because, like, if there's no one else there, like, I just go to her, or I know there's someone that I can hang out with. Like, that's the benefit of having a twin, right? Like, so I just ended up going and just standing around checking out the place, and there was a bench, and that was like leading out of a hallway, because there's a, I don't know. Anyway, so this bench is right there. There's a fence right behind it, and all I ended up really doing was just standing in front of the fence and like eating my lunch, just standing there. And some people did try to talk to me just because I had like this backpack that I had brought in from Mexico, because I did come from Mexico, you know, and I had like a little rabbit's foot that actually hung off of it. So then they'd always be like, oh, nice backpack, or oh, is that a real rabbit? So I'd be like, oh yeah, it is. Like, and they're like, oh, that's cool, and I'm like, oh, thank you. You know, I was that type of person though. Thank you very much. You know, now I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm a cool backpack, you know, I am a little rustful, yeah, I know, it's cool. But that wasn't me back then. I've been developing this as I grow up. So then basically this happened for like the first 2 days of school, because by this third day I literally started seeing like how everyone sat, and how like different cliques would go to different tables. And what I would always see is that a group of girls that looked pretty nice were just sitting at this table all the time. So that was right in front of that fence area and the bench where like I just stood in front of. So one day I was literally like, I'm never gonna find a seat, I'm never gonna eat with nobody, I'm gonna be so lonely forever. So I literally gathered up my courage and I went and I asked them like, hey, can I sit here? You know, like, can I just like sit here? You know? And so they actually were really nice and they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And so me, like, I'm always the type of person that just like listens and laughs, so I kind of seemed like I was into the conversation, because I kind of was. I just listen to what anyone says, and then if I think it's funny, I just kind of laugh. But that ended up being what I ended up doing for the rest of 7th grade. So I just ended up hanging out with a bunch of really cool friends. They ended up being 8th graders. Which in 7th grade I was mostly friends with 8th graders, which leads on to many stories and bad decisions that I can share later on. But for my first day of school and even my first week of school, it was just a bunch of figuring it out, and a bunch of people figuring out that I wasn't the person they saw in their last class. It was my twin sister. So, which many people still didn't even know we were twins. That was my first day of middle school. I just really like to share the story just because, you know, everyone kind of says like, oh, you know, you have your friends that you're going with, maybe, and then like they just go over what you need for school or like your first outfit, but it doesn't really matter. I think it just really matters like what you make of the experience or your perspective of that day, because if you feel like it's the best day of your life and you're eating by yourself on the ground, like, it's probably the best day of your life. But for me, I just felt so lonely and like a loser and kind of embarrassed. So I guess I was a loser that was lonely and was embarrassed. So yeah, so basically I just want to wish everyone luck that hasn't really started school yet, but I just hope you guys have a great day. Just because I wish I could have experienced a different type of first day at school. But if you are that lonely person, just please, just don't hold back. Reach out to someone. Just say, hey, can I sit here with you? Or just say hi to someone, you know. Or if you feel like someone is by themselves, just say hi. Offer them a seat at your table next to your friends. And if you don't like them, kick them out later. But, you know, it's always really hard for that first day of school, especially if maybe someone didn't go to the same elementary school growing up next to all these people for 6 years. So yeah, that was my first day of middle school, which could have been worse and didn't really go that bad. But if you guys like the story, just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you guys wanted to hear really the expansion of my middle school experience, then you guys are gonna want to hold on because literally middle school was really interesting for me. It was kind of like I grew up, I feel like, a lot in 2 years or 1.5 years I was there, just because I kind of did experience a lot. So if you guys want to stay tuned for the rest of this crazy middle school experience, just go ahead and turn on your notifications like I said. And this is my channel, Abigail's Life, and my name is Abigail, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.